I'm Dan Cutforth.
I'm Jane Lipsitz.
I'm Pasquale Rotella, and you're watching Billboard.
We really wanted to create a movie about what it's like to be at a festival like EDC, and specifically what it's like to be at EDC, I guess. So that was always the intention, was to tell the story from the fans' point of view, in terms of how we found them.
Yeah, I think that was something that Dan and I were interested in, but it's also, Pasquale's philosophy about the headliners, which obviously you can speak more to, but it all sort of we all came into sync about what the perspective of the story should be.
Yeah, when we first met, it was it was the perfect synergy. The way it wasn't hard to make that decision because it's the way we produce our events and how the culture has flourished. It's very different than rock and roll, and it's very different than hip hop, where the experience is really important, and the most important element to that experience coming together is the crowd.
Once we started putting the movie together, we had a good idea of what we wanted the stories to be, and that we knew the stories that would resonate most with the audience. And then I think it really was a question. We do see every movie that we've done as being kind of like a musical, in the sense that the songs tell part of the story, and in a much more kind of emotionally fulfilling way than just the subjects of the movie sort of telling the story. So I think that's what's sort of interesting about EDM, is that there is. I think there's a simplicity to the lyrics very often, but they talk about very kind of universal themes in life, and that there are all kinds of lines in the songs in the movie that reflect the message of the movie. There's the first big kind of DJ song is one that talks about everyone's connected but no one's connecting, and then there are these characters that kind of identify with the Avicii line. About all this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost, and that's something we really consciously tried to do to kind of help tell that story. I think what's kind of cool about this, and I think anytime you look at making a documentary movie or any kind of movie, you have to ask yourself, why does this need to be in theaters? What are we creating that has to be seen in theaters? And I think that what is kind of cool about Under the Electric Sky is that as a moviegoer, you really do get to experience EDC, and you experience with a theater full of people as well, which I think is it's a very different thing than just watching it on your computer or watching it at home. So I think that element to it can make a real event out of going to see the movie, and our hope is that it does well and is distributed widely and does well in a traditional way, but that hopefully for years to come people go to midnight screenings of Under the Electric Sky, like I used to, for things like Rocky Horror Show or Stop Making Sense.